reviewing how to use your calculator to do different things that you may need for your exam. Okay, so you definitely need your calculator for today. As everyone said they have theirs, cool. And we're going to be doing this as we're reviewing different content from the syllabus. Mostly going to be centered around trigonometry and circular functions, probability and statistics with a little bit of calc and functions. Okay, so the way it's going to work, I'm going to give you a problem. I'm going to see if you guys can do it first off, because you should be reviewing. You should have been reviewing. We've been taking mocks up to this point. So you should know how to do some of these problems. All right. But there is a certain feature of the calculator that you would need to answer these problems. So every problem is a calculator problem. Okay. So I'm going to give you a time limit, see if we can get the answer, and then we'll go over it together. Before we start, two things are going to happen when you sit for your exam. Okay, your calculator is already going to be out on your desk. I'm going to need your calculator by April 30th. You will be without your calculator for 5 days until it's time for you to take your exam, April 30th. Okay, if you want to use your own. Your calculator is already going to be out on your desk, and the memory is going to be reset. Okay, what that means is that when you sit for your exam, you need to make sure that your stat diagnostic is on. The stat diagnostic is what brings back your correlation coefficient, the value of R. And you want to be aware that you are back in radian mode, okay? Which means that if you're doing a problem and degrees are involved, you need to change your calculator from radian mode into degree mode, okay? Those are the two things that's definitely make sure you do number one before you start the test, okay? All right, so following diagram shows triangle ABC. I'm giving you 8 minutes to do this problem. Following diagram shows triangle ABC. You have that triangle there where you have one side is 12, you have an angle that's 34 degrees and a side that's 16. Bianca, what am I going to have to use to try to find BC? What piece of the curriculum? I would use the cosine rule. Why am I using the cosine rule over the sine rule, Eli?
Because
No, it wasn't. Bodie, why would I use cosine rule or sine rule?
because you can't use sine rule, you don't have the right angles and sides to use.
That's true. I don't have all the information I need to use the sine rule. Why? Because the sine rule legit says I need the same side and an angle. So then that way I can have one complete fraction. I have an angle, but I don't know this side. I have two sides, but I don't know their respective angles. So the sine rule is out of this altogether. It's going to have to be cosine rule. Side angle side, and what other situation do I need to use the cosine rule, Samuel? Side angle side, and what other situation where I can use the cosine rule? Not sure? Side. Yes, exactly. Side. When you know all three sides, that's also when you can use cosine rule. Any other situation, you're going to use the sine rule. So the formula says a squared equals b squared plus c squared equals minus 2bc cosine a. Sorry, they use c, my mistake. But it's essentially the same thing, two adjacent sides and the included angle. So that's 12 squared plus 16 squared minus 2 times 12 times 16 cosine 34. All of that equals the side I don't know squared. How do I find, what do I need to do to this formula after I type this entire line in? Anyone?
Take the square root of it.
I have to take the square root. Maybe I'm not asking the right questions. And on top of that, I need to make sure my calculator is in, and that's the important thing here. My calculator is still in radian. I need to make sure I change it over to degree, because you may end up with some crazy answers if you do not change it into degree. And again, it's 34 degrees. That's why I need to be in degree mode. Rounding that to 3 significant figures. Abby, what is it?
I got
9.0 what?
4.
4. Don't forget your units as well. So 9.04 centimeters, that is the length of BC. We use the cosine rule because it's side, angle, side. Now it says to find CBA, given that it is obtuse, meaning its angle measure needs to be greater than what, Nyla? If it's obtuse, it needs to be greater than what? It needs to be greater than 90 degrees. So if I get an answer that's not greater than 90 degrees, what do I need to do to it in order to get an angle that's greater than 90 degrees? Malin, what would I need to do if I got an angle that wasn't obtuse? Not complement, the other word. I would need to find the supplement. All right, so CBA is this angle. What would I use to find angle CBA, Alyssa? Say it again. Now I can use sine rule because I have this side over here. It was 9.03 and some change. So I use the sine rule. And I do not use the rounded answer. Why would I not use the rounded answer? Taylor, why would I not use the rounded answer? It's been further and further away from it being exact. All right, in order to find theta, an angle, I'm gonna have to do the inverse at some point. Cross multiply. Divide. And then take the inverse of sine in order to find theta. Sine inverse. How do I get that fraction thing in my calculator, Chris? What do I press to get that fraction feature? Not the x, y equals. Alpha y equals gives me that fraction feature. Do I have to use that? No, but it makes things a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. I don't have to worry about certain things, okay? I'm going to use second negative to bring down the previous answer. Second negative will bring down any previous answer. And put it in there. That's not obtuse. I would do 180 minus that value to get my obtuse angle. Very good. The calculator will only give you acute angles. So if you do end up in this particular situation, 180 minus that value will give you the angle that you need. Round that to 3 significant figures for me, Eli.
98.
Very good. Regardless of whether you knew how to do A or you knew how to do B, you did not need either of them to find C, because it asked you to find the area of the triangle. Now this is a non-right triangle. So you want to use that other formula that's in the reference booklet, right? Is it 1/2 AB sine C, or do they? Okay. 1/2 AB sine of C. What do A and B represent? Anybody?
12 and 6.
It represents those two adjacent sides. What is C?
34.
34. I didn't need to use any of the other information that I found. I could have used exactly what was given to me to find the area of my triangle. So rounding that to 3 significant figures would be what, Alyssa? And of course, don't forget about your units. Questions? Yeah. So in this particular problem, we're working with circles, trying to find some links and area, but one thing should stand out with this problem compared to the last problem. Leah, what mode does my calculator need to be in?
Radians.
It needs to be in radian because your angle is given to you as a radian. Every formula that's in your reference booklet that deals with an angle, except for arc length and sector area, you can just change the mode and still do the formula the same way. So I need my calculator to be in radian mode, so then that way I'm able to, maybe not for part AI, but at least for a double I. Radius is 5, A and B lie on the circle, and I'm given my angle. I'm asked to find the length of my minor arc. So, Olivia, what formula do I need to use to find the length of my minor arc?
I use radius times radian,
Radius times radian.
or
So
the degree.
my angle, yes. So then that's going to be 5 times 2.1, and that value is what?
I got 10.5.
It would be 10.5, and the units are centimeters. Don't forget your units. Don't forget your units. Then you're asked to find the length of the chord. Okay, don't let that throw you off there. You're just looking for this right here. Zach, what would I need to use to find that?
I did cosine rule.
Yes, and I don't have it labeled, so help me out. What's the length of the other side?
5.
It is, because all radii are equal. So using the cosine rule, again, this is side angle side. I should have 5 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 5 cosine 2.1. And as long as I'm in radian mode using my calculator, I can do this. Take the square root at the end. Zach, what did you get?
I got 8.67.
Very good. 8.67. And don't forget about your units, so that'd be centimeters. I'm just typing this in to make sure that if I need to use it. Oh, I did 50. There we go. Now I need to find the area of my shaded region. Harley, in order to find the area of my shaded region, kind of walk me through a plan that I would need to do to find that shaded region.
I took the area of the sector and then subtracted the area of the triangle.
Exactly. That's exactly what I would need to do in order to do this. So Kaylee, how do I find the area of my sector?
You use the formula A equals 1/2 r squared times theta measured in radians.
Very good. I already know my R is 5 and my theta is 2.1. Kendall, what about the formula for the area of the triangle?
The area of a triangle is 1/2 AB sine C.
What's my A? What's my?
Your A and B are both 5.
Uh-huh. So I type that in, I subtract, and I'll get my answer. Man, what you get? Very good. The main thing, you need to know when to go back and forth between your value, your modes. Questions? This too would have been considered an easy problem, probably question 3. Okay. Here's our next one. I'm going to give you 6 minutes. Given that sine x minus cosine x equals 1/4, find cosine of AX surrounding your answer to 3 significant figures.